Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by a number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nundumiso Vilagati alongside Zamanze Manze. Let's take a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III has urged the Qatar Science and Technology Park to consider forging a collaboration with the Kingdom of Eswatini. The House of Assembly is calling for the independence of the Auditor General's Office for improved integrity. The Minister of Labour and Social Security says government is in the process of reviewing students' living allowances who have been awarded scholarships. The news in detail. His Majesty King Eswatini III has urged the Qatar Science and Technology Park to consider forging a collaboration with the Kingdom of Eswatini. His Majesty says the collaboration would go a long way in establishing how the Royal Science and Technology Park can be run profitably. The King made the invitation when he toured the Qatar Science and Technology Park in Doha. His Majesty was accompanied by Nkosikazi Magela-Motha.
When His Majesty the King championed the creation of the Royal Science and Technology Park, he emphasized the importance of forging collaborations with science parks from first world countries. His Majesty's tour at the Qatar Science and Technology Park demonstrated the King's commitment to transform the Royal Science and Technology Park into an internationally recognized technology hub. His Majesty the King and Nkosikazi Magela-Motha were received by the Planning and Strategic Initiative Director Ahmed Al-Enazi when the King arrived at the Technology Park to begin his tour of the world-class facility, which was established in 2005 as part of the Qatar Foundation with a startup investment of $800 million to spur development of Qatar's knowledge economy. The Science Park provides office and lab space to more than 50 leading international technology companies and research centers, which have invested 4.3 billion Qatar riyals in research, development and innovation activities. It was explained to His Majesty that the Science and Technology Park is co-located at the Qatar Foundation's Education City alongside international universities, which makes it easy for the tenant companies to collaborate with the universities. His Majesty and Nkosikazi were then given a front row seat into operations of a research center at ExxonMobil company. The King was received by the Technical Research Supervisor Ismail Al-Sheikh, who led His Majesty on a tour inside the research facility. The King proceeded to visit the incubation center where Qatari startups, which are technology-based, are incubated. Through the incubation opportunities, innovative products are developed and commercialized for the Qatari markets. There were a number of questions that His Majesty posed to the Planning and Strategic Initiative Director. The King wanted to know if the technology hub was making enough profits. The response from the director was positive, but he did explain that the initiative was inspired by a desire to solve Qatar's socio-economic challenges through research and innovation. The King also wanted to know if the government of Qatar was still rolling out funds to support the technology hub 18 years later. The King made use of the tour to plead with the Qatar Science and Technology Park to be open for a collaboration with the Kingdom of Eswatini. His Majesty the King called for an exchange program that will assist on how the Royal Science and Technology Park could be utilized profitably. On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting for Eswatini TV in Doha, Qatar.
The House of Assembly is calling for the independence of the Auditor General's Office for improved integrity. This has been said in Parliament during the debate of the annual performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year.
During the ongoing debate of the annual performance reports for the 2022-2023 financial year and the budget for the 2023-2024 financial year, led by portfolio committees, the Minister of Finance, Neil Rickenback, on his preamble reported that total public debt has increased by about 3.99 billion emalangeni.
Total revenue for the year 2022-2023 is projected to amount to 18.62 billion emalangeni, which reflects a 3% decline in revenue collected in the fiscal year 2021-2022. Preliminary debt figures show that as of the 31st of December 2022, total public debt stood at 31.75 billion emalangeni, which is equivalent to 42.7% of GDP.
Members of the committee then debated the minister's report, calling for the independence of the Auditor General's office.
Auditor General, Mr. Speaker, is doing a fantastic job for the country.
I can't with the next financial year in Runa, the office like Auditor General, they were independent. Because could compromise the integrity of the office, under Minister of Finance, the same department, the same ministry.
Ungaba kucela nje lokuthi mane litiko likubone kukuhle lokuthi mane lisuke lelitiko libe litimele ngalokuphelele.
Auditor General uestablishwa i-Constitution chair section 207 subsection 7 imnika independence. Ngiyamangala kumbona la ulandzeni ngoba independent even of this ministry. Ngawule ubhizi ngemsebenzi wakhe, he has no business to be here unless you compromise the independence yakhe.
By the time of compiling this report, members of the committee were still debating the matter. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Siwekwaza with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Parliamentary, says for the 2023-2024 budget, the ministry will work on the implementation of the legal aid policy and the electronic case management system. The minister has been speaking during the debate of the ministry's 2022-2023 annual performance report.
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Polilesha Kantu, has delivered the 2022-2023 annual performance report before the ministry's portfolio committee at the House of Assembly, which is led by Lobamba Lomzala, Member of Parliament Mawik Kumalo, as the chairperson. After her preamble, members of the Honorable House then debated the matter.
Are you convinced that this will be credible?
Besiyidzinga le healing process, Minister, before lolukhetho.
Lena che yokukhulumisana singakayi lukhethweni sicela kuyigcizelela che siyayidzinga.
Indvuna ngiyakhumbula isho la isho ukuthi they are continuing to work toward attaining key targets. Wawabala lamathathu awo nje establishment of the legal aid system, development of the electronic case management system, nenzabe yokulungisela likhetho. Kuyajabulisa ukuthi mase sibuya la sibona umbiko losho ukuthi lele benikhulume ngako ukuthi nifuna ukugweda seninguphi nyalo.
The Minister of Justice then responded to the debate.
Ivelile nayo lana ukuthi siyayibuka yini le report silitiko la Justice. Kubuka lokuthi kuvele ini kule report ikakhulu kuma kutindzaba leti sensa i-corruption lengakusho sihlalo ukuthi siyayibuka le report le report iye ivete tinhlangothi letehlukene kukhona bo fraud kukhona bo theft kukhona i-corruption kukhona maladministration lokuthi nje akalandzelwa ema processes sineke lesingacela honorable chairperson ngilokuthi bese kuba nje nalendlela noma suke sesingafuni lokuthatha i-accountability ukuthi akusiko konke lokumele ukuthi sekumele kuyolungiswa i-anti-corruption anti-corruption is not lamacala ayehluka and kunema institutions lekumele ukuthi alungise letinto letivela kulombhukuthu lobuya ka-PAC.
The minister is expected to submit written responses before the House on Friday. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Siwekwaza with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The House of Assembly has applauded the Ministry of Dinkhundla Administration for the reconstruction of Dinkhundla structures that were destroyed during the June 2021 unrest. This has been said in Parliament during the Budget and Annual Performance Report debate.
On Tuesday, the Minister of Tingundla Administration and Development, David Nkampalala, delivered his preamble for the ministry's 2022-2023 annual performance report before the ministry's portfolio committee at the House of Assembly, where he also mentioned that for the 2023-2024 budget, the ministry has been allocated 15 million emalangeni budget for the construction of new Tingundla centers.
Lesikubuka kakhulu kungilokunye ukuthi siyathi ukuthi kunemalunga lashelwa Tingundla la maningi kakhulu talimala lesibheke nje ukuthi masinyane mabayi release iMinister of Finance lela ingakhona sathi ukuthi lo msebenzi njengoba besibheke ukuthi awusukuma mbe10 masikhuluma na micro project lo sihlangana Thursday lo 10 asukume kanye kuze kuthi emalunga ukuthi kuyawufika lamalanga lana tabe tingaphela kodwa lo mehluko wokuthi sive salinyalelwa Tingundla sifuna kuyosebenza khona sikhuluma nganabo wifi lesikhuluma ngabo abayithole leyo benefit kube kubonakala ukuthi hulumende wenda in.
Members of the committee then forwarded their questions before the minister.
Njoba letikhulu setibekiwe kuna problem number 2 kwekuthi laba labafikako banenkinga yema boundaries. Njengoba letikhulu kubede iminyaka lengaka labanye ukhanza bo 20 years sebafile labaningi labathi lama boundaries.
The cabinet decided to budget 30 million for a dialogue yale live bengithi ngayikhanza la. And actually I'll recommend ukuthi ayibuyingani la Tingundleni le mali so that we can go in dialogue with the people and clear yonke lenkinga le.
Siyephethwe lo nyaka 2023 ngiyatibuta nje ngingubhekitshe umhlonishwa wesithobeleni ukuthi kute kube nginamuhla ngumaji kuyaqala kuyabhaliswa kumbe yabo May June August noma kanjani kunema primary elections engabe indlu ntabe sicedzile yini letakhiwo.
By the time of compiling this report, members of the committee were still debating the matter, whereas they also asked the minister to review the regulations of the Regional Development Fund. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Suekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security, Philip Telezi, has announced the new Scholarship Selection Board members led by Chairperson Brian Vilagati. Buthelezi pleads with the board to treat Emaswati with decency and further desist from any corruption activities.
During the announcement of the new board, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Philip Telezi, says the portfolio of the board is crucial as 80% of the ministry's budget is allocated to the scholarship department.
Sinasihlalo lo ngibabe Vilagati Brian lo bekhona itolo lo tawuba ngelo hola lona libandla emalunga sinaye Bongo Dlamini sinaye babe Stezi Dlamini sinaye babe Jabulani Mavuso unfortunately uphathekile namhla ke phakathi kwethu sinaye Makecolile Mkhonda sinaye babe Mboni Dlamini make sindisiwe Dube sina sifiso sethu Bhembe sina Phethile Masilela sina Mlando Dlamini sina Ncobile Dlamini nanguqo Dlamini laba yi-secretariat kumbe itolo besibutana ukuthi umfula wangakini ngibani lipasi lakho kusemcoka ukuthi esikhulini ubupheleke kuphi uchamuka kwiphi indvuna kodwa lokukhulu sesisekutheni ingabe la uchamuka khona bengeteni wakhona ukuthi utibhadalele manje kusitakale laba labede nabantu ngababhadalela.
The new Scholarship Selection Board Chairperson Brian Vilagati promises that they will work hard while in office.
Idawuzama kutimisela siwende ngokwethembeka njengoba sokuvedile lokuthi umsebenzi lobitako lona umsebenzi lodzinga ukuthi sitinikele liwonke.
The new board is expected to have interviewed and awarded scholarships to students who want to study in Ngwane Teachers Training College, William Picture, and echoed by April 1st. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Muzim Konta Ezulwini.
And again, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Parliamentary, says government is in a process of reviewing students leaving allowances who have been awarded scholarships. Minister Buthelezi further adds that in the next academic year, government will award leaving allowances to students at Royal Science and Technology Park and Emergency Medical Rescue College.
Lisitawa consider sinani ema issues ekwekuthi ingabe lesikunikako ema study loans to bantwana kusese enough yini ngilaba ngekhatsi Eswatini ngilaba ngaphandle na umnika le allowance for accommodation ingabe isayimitha yini le tindleko lafika bhekana nato lo mntwana eSwatini asale ngaphandle. So i-exercise leyo le ongoing asayinele i-department le relevant eku-engage ne-consultant kusibukela lokho to review kubuka kusema allowances are they still sufficient and everything else lokubuka i-welfare wema-students because ezisibanika lama study loans kufuna babe ngilabantu aba-comfortable kiwo so that noma sekufika isikhathi sekubhadala bangagongonyeki bayikhiphe ngenhlitiyo levumako. There are no specific timelines njengoba sisho it was reviewed in 2020, it's 2023 now. So kithi kubuka lokho ukuthi ingabe because there have been many developments kube nabo COVID kube nani loku affect even tinzengo 13 sesitolo wa cognizant of leto dinho leto and ke siba njengoba sisibe siba engagile last week is one of my issues lebawa raise ukuthi lolihlavana sesidonsa kalukhuni from next academic year nawuqala nabo mane bayithole leyo benefit yekwebuthi bathole lawo ma allowances cishe bafana labanye abantwana bemaswati naba-applyile.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission will be conducting a civic and voter education exercise tomorrow, Wednesday, the 8th of March 2023 at Bahweni Umphakathi under Mahlangaja Inkundla and also at Sangolweni Umphakathi under Ngomiyahlaba Inkundla. And then on Thursday under Ngomiyahlaba Inkundla, the team will be at Ngayini and Senga at 10 a.m. The Deputy Assistant Secretary Bureau of African Affairs, Robert Scott, says America will continue supporting Eswatini on strengthening HIV programs. Scott was speaking at the residence of the U.S. Ambassador to Eswatini, where he met with the Chief of Mission Charge 3 Affairs, L. Miller, and journalists from different media houses on Tuesday morning.
The Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Bureau of African Affairs, Robert K. Scott, has on Tuesday morning met with the Chief Mission Charge d'Affaires of the American Embassy, L. Miller, in his residence in Mbabane, as well as representatives from the different media houses. Scott says the United States is committed to strengthening her relationship with the Kingdom of Eswatini. He says the United States will soon be welcoming Maswati to the U.S. on a special work program.
The United States is concerned, as are many friends of Eswatini, with the cycle of violence currently in the country. The killing of Thulani Masego, of Chief Prince Mahloma, and of others are to be strongly condemned. Thulani Masego was a friend to many, including in our embassy, and we call for timely and transparent investigation into his death. He was a key partner in the human rights landscape of Eswatini. There is no justification for any of these acts of violence, and we urge that a pathway to peaceful discourse and dialogue be established. Upcoming elections to provide the opportunity for all Amaswati to engage directly in the country's governance, a process which we support.
He says during his stay in the kingdom, he has met with the acting Prime Minister, the chairperson of the EPC, civil society leaders, amongst others. He says he will take with him to America the wonderful memories and fruitful deliberations and discussions he has had with the different people and stakeholders in Eswatini. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Kian MCB in Mbabane.
Lawyer Noncedo Ndlangamandla, who is representing Nelisa Hlatshwago, who is accused of murdering prosecutor Stanley Dlamini, has accused the investigating officer and the mayor Dumisani Dlamini of not collecting evidence that favors the accused person. The trial continued today before High Court Judge Doris Chabalala.
Lawyer Ncedo Dlangamandla wanted to know from the investigating officer Tumsane Dlamini why a video which shows the fight between the deceased prosecutor Stanley Dlamini and accused person not part of evidence presented in court. She says this video was captured by Gauzin. Dlangamandla also wanted to know why the investigating officer did not extract video footages of the fight from Solanis. The lawyer also asked the investigating officer why Sergeant Connors, who gave the accused person a medical form, is not part of the witnesses paraded in court. She said the accused person wanted the form because he wanted to go to hospital as he had swollen ice bruises in the arm that he picked from the fight. Dlangamandla put it to the investigating officer that the reason for this is that this did not favor the investigating officer's case. The investigating officer Tumsane, when responding, said the reason he did not extract and watch the video captured by Gauzin is that Gauzin said he took the video because he wanted to prove that he was not part of the fight as he was out on bail. He added that Solani's management informed the police that on the day of the incident, the surveillance cameras were not working. The investigating officer further adds that Sergeant Connors was not paraded as a witness because the accused person never used the medical form as he was not injured. He said if the accused person had bruises and swollen face, the magistrate would have not continued with the trial. He further added that His Majesty Correctional Services would not have also admitted him or they would have sent him to their medical facilities. Dlangamandla said the accused person attempted to go for medical assistance at the Mbabane government after obtaining the medical form from Sergeant Connors. However, he was turned back at around 5 a.m. by security guards at the Mbabane Government Hospital as the facility was not open. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, High Court.
30 girls have been capacitated on the use of social media where they attended a meeting under the theme, Social Media Movements to Change Asian Girls' Future. The Zoom meeting was held at Taiwan Technical Mission in Matsapa.
The meeting, which was a Zoom meeting, was meant to equip girls with innovation and technological change in education in the digital age for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all girls and women. 1 Billion Rising Campaign Director Cholan Tlachwago was amongst the attendees.
What are the benefits of social media when we use farming, through farming? I mean, when women use social media when they are farming, that includes how they market their products, how they package them so that everyone who is seeing that on social media is interested to buy.
Taiwan Embassy First Secretary Trent Tseng says theirs is to gather girls together and map a way forward.
So today is very honored. We work with the Taiwan Technical Mission, the microfinance project, to pick a very important national virtual meetings held by one of the well-known Taiwanese organizations. And the topic is about using the social media movement to change the Asian girls' future.
During this week, there will be several events to celebrate Taiwan Gender Equality Week. Reporting MKNMCB, Matsapa.
Dear viewers, now taking a Qatar financial updates.
It can be.
Welcome back. Yes, we are still watching Eswatini TV, and now sports news. We begin with the Parliament, where the Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga, has revealed that the ongoing rehabilitation of Somhlelo National Stadium has entered its third stage, where a budget of 15 million Malangeni has been allocated for the process. The minister was speaking before the portfolio committee responsible for the Ministry of Sports in Parliament.
When Parliament resumed its business, the Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga, delivered his preamble to the portfolio committee responsible for the ministry. The committee wanted to find out from the ministry how far is the progress in terms of rehabilitating the national stadium, Somhlelo National Stadium.
kukhona lokushodayo kuthiwe lokhu sekulungisiwe hayi khona lesekushoda kanti kube besawakha nje stadium lesihlahla akhona ema-teams ekudlala nyalo nje somhlolo uvaliwe mavuso bekavaliwe ema-teams lekungona akhona kudosa tihlwele letinene akuselele kohlangana
usumbuto 1968 up to 2023 which is 55 years solo site sine inkundla lengenda kusisibambe lemidlalo ikakhulu leya la eAfrika akuhlazo kakhulu ukuthi sinamaswati sesama sodlala kulabo makhelwane azilabe bomakhelwane ukuthi kumbe kube khona lokukhona hayi nje ukuthi sisite indzawo yokudlalisa ibhola kade sakhululeka la ife.
In his response, the Minister for Sports, Haris Bulunga, says that the rehabilitation is now entering the third stage where a budget of 15 million marangeni has been allocated.
Nyaloje sakalibonza lelitaba gokuthi li provide security to secure the investment that has already been made. And the like.
In other sports, the Eswatini Sports and Education Council has reminded athletics clubs to give so much attention to the long-distance running competitions, as the country is known for that great record in the previous years. At the moment, the country has great record in sprinting under the athletics compared to previous years.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. His Majesty King Mswati III has urged the Qatar Science and Technology Park to consider forging a collaboration with the Kingdom of Eswatini. The House of Assembly is calling for the independence of the Auditor General's Office for improved integrity. The Minister of Labour and Social Security says government is in the process of reviewing students' living allowances who have been awarded scholarships. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.